Unscripted, unshackled, uncouth.
What you're about to hear is for more mature audiences only.
It's Miguel and Holly, Uncensored.
Hello, we are back on the Uncensored podcast, and we are so sorry that we were not here on yesterday, Thursday.
Yes.
Like we said we would be. We just had a lot of meetings yesterday.
We did.
And so whenever Holly is here in town, it's like, go, 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 go.
It is a whirlwind.
Absolutely. But we are broadcasting live on the Miguel and Holly and the Hits 961 Facebook page and the Miguel and Holly YouTube channel. And you can always make sure to listen to us anywhere you listen to podcasts. Just type in Miguel and Holly Uncensored and also listen to our other podcasts as well.
Mm-hmm.
Let's give a shout out to Stefan, Cindy, Doe-Eyes, Zinda, Janeth. They are here watching live. Holly, how's everything going so far since you've been in the Queen City?
Delightfully. I mean, it's always such a fun time to visit. It's a little bit crazy, preparing and then coming, but I love the fact that I do because it just reinvigorates having all of us together, which I love.
Yeah.
So that's great. It's been a really good visit so far. The problem that I have every time I do come through town, which is at least once a month, I eat so much food. Like, I don't eat that much food in my normal everyday life. Like, I have the same exact routine. I have like bulletproof coffee in the morning, and I like it's sort of like intermittent fasting. I don't eat breakfast. The first thing I eat is lunch at 11:30, 12 o'clock, and it's like a little bit of chicken salad and 2 egg bites.
Yes.
Every single day. And then I eat nothing until dinner, which is typically some protein and a vegetable. And that's it. And then I go to bed and wake up and do the same thing. So that's like, it's good. I like it. I'm in a great routine.
It's skinny legend energy.
Yeah.
Goodness, I wish.
Yeah, girl, who you telling?
It's really good. Except then I come here and everyone's like, people want to feed you. And then we like have to go out. There's there's all these good things that we don't have in Tampa, like Bojangles. And then there's also like, all these new restaurants that I keep reading about. And I'm like, oh, can we go there? And then we do. Or like Miguel cooks a 5-course chicken parmesan dinner. And it's like, I just feel like real full. My stomach is like,
we
what
said
are you
last
doing?
night, Maya's going to get a little sister, a little brother.
A food one.
A food
food
baby.
A
Wow.
food baby. That's going to happen.
That is awkward.
But it's good.
Yeah, we do have to sort of recap what happened at my house last night with our little dinner. But before we get to that, I do want to have sort of a serious conversation because voting is serious. And whether you live in North Carolina, South Carolina, I know we have some fan members that live up in New York, that live in San Diego and California, obviously in Tampa. The midterm elections are on Tuesday.
Yeah.
I know in North Carolina, you can early vote up until Saturday, November 5th, which is tomorrow, but depending upon when you listen to this. So you've got to vote. And if you've listened to this show for any amount of time, that like Holly's a mental health champion. I am a voting champion. It is so important.
Yeah.
I'll never tell you who to vote for. If you're confused and you need help, I'll always help you, but I will never push it on you. But we do like to present issues that are important to us. And so that's why I thought it was really cool that we have somebody that we know that works for a very cool organization here in the Charlotte area that was actually featured nationally on this popular podcast called is it Call Me Daddy or Caller Daddy? Caller Daddy. I would like to introduce you to Jody.
Hi.
Let's see which microphone. Hey.
Can you hear me? Yes.
There we go.
Jody.
Hi.
We got you. Hey, Jody.
Hello.
Can we say how we know you?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Well, you're a coworker of ours. You work
Yep.
here at iHeartMedia. And so I remember when Holly and I were first here and we got to chat with you, and I didn't know all the things that you do outside of work. And then as we started to follow all of our coworkers, I started to see the extra stuff that you do.
Yeah.
And I was like, how awesome that not only are you putting you're promoting things on social media, but you're actually spending the hours outside of this ridiculous job we have of radio doing and impacting people's lives. And so what is it, Jody, that you do outside of work?
Yes. So I volunteer with a really great organization called Charlotte for Choice. We are an abortion clinic defending and escorting program here in Charlotte, North Carolina. We work to make sure that our patients get to their appointments safely, that they are not tried or not dissuaded by the anti-choice protesters on the sidewalk to miss their appointments. Because believe it or not, we will get anywhere between 5 to 200 people out at our clinic protesting people coming into our clinic. And our clinic does only abortion services.
Right.
So we are in the bullseye for a lot of these organizations for
Right.
sure.
Mhm.
So help us sort of walk through, if I am a woman who has made the decision,
Mhm.
or I just want more information and I want to go to the clinic, what is that experience like driving to Charlotte for Choice?
Yeah, so there is a mandatory waiting period in North Carolina. So you would call our clinic, you would talk to our call center. They would have you make an appointment. There is a 72-hour waiting period. They have you talk to a counselor. So it's not like someone can just show up to the clinic and say they want an abortion today. There's thought and process that goes into it. So when they do come to our clinic, after having made this decision that was right for them and their body and their family and their time, they are permanently like immediately dissuaded by the very gruesome abortion signs that a lot of anti-choicers hold. And where our clinic is it veers off. So we're in a circle. So there's two ways to get to our clinic. You go left or you go right, but you'll still end up at our clinic.
Right.
They sit right at that corner and tell people to go left instead of right. Because if they go left, they're going to get this, hit their property first. The anti-choicers have the property next door to our clinic.
Oh.
So they will do what they can to dissuade our patients from going the correct way to their appointment, hoping that they can keep them long enough that they miss their appointment, and then maybe they're too far along to go through with it.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a lot to deal with. So yeah, we there is an organization in this area that was founded by a man, that is an anti-abortion organization.
Right.
And they have acquired the property directly next door to our clinic. They will hold services there. They will set up speaker systems to directly talk to our patients as they're coming into their appointment.
Yeah.
They will do a lot of religious-centric verbiage to them.
Of course.
Because
Because that's the argument.
Exactly. So
Right.
it's not actually providing them resources. It's guilting them and shaming them for making a decision that was right for them.
Right.
Correct.
So have you had interactions with any of the people there?
Mhm.
Help me understand. Here's something I've never understood is that I'm not a woman. I do not know what goes on. Like, I remember Holly and I years ago having a conversation on the air, and this was 2008 radio. So this is the stuff we used to talk about on the
Everything
air.
was on the table.
Oh,
Right.
yes. Like on air.
Right.
This is
And
bizarre.
but this is true. I remember us having a conversation on the air that like a woman one time didn't know like her anatomy downstairs, fully, And so remember, and I don't want to get into the what exactly the conversation was, but we talked about it on the air. But I remember thinking like, wow, that's crazy. Like, you should know your body. Why am I as a man should have any say
Mhm.
in what you do? That's between you and your doctor. So when you talk to these people, what do they say to these women that are making probably one of the most heartbreaking decisions of their life?
Yeah, so they come equipped with, as I said, a lot of religious reasons. So that this baby was made in the image of God. Like that's their biggest statement. And that your baby already has 10 fingers and 10 toes at like 6 weeks. Like just all of this verbiage to try to dissuade people. And I will say that, over 80% of people who get abortions don't regret it. Like they did it for a reason. It was for something they needed to do, and they don't regret it. And that's a statistic that the antis don't like to use and don't like to hear, because their whole verbiage is, oh, you're shameful, you're going to regret it, you're going to hate this decision for the rest of your life, you're going to hate yourself for the rest of your life. And statistically, that's not correct.
Yeah.
Right.
So they're using all of these shame tactics to try to get patients
Scare tactics.
100%.
Yeah.
And that's what they have to hear, like going into the parking lot, and thank God they can't go onto our parking lot or onto our property.
yeah.
Right.
But they're right at the driveway. They will try to stop cars as they're pulling in to hand them a pamphlet.
Oh
Yeah.
my
And let me
gosh.
tell you, that pamphlet has nothing in it. It's they say they offer resources, and their resources are all government assistance programs. They're not guaranteed. So
Right.
things like food stamps and privatized adoption, which is just a money making, act. And then
Right.
they have a resource for if someone is R-worded, that
Mm.
their resource is a Facebook group of someone who was R-worded that's not even active anymore. Like, it's not real resources. So we have to dissuade our patients from listening to that. We do escort them in. We do have umbrellas that cover their identity. But we do the best we can, but it's hard to ignore that when it's literally being yelled at you as you're walking in the door.
Yeah.
What
Yes.
are some of the reactions of the women that are, having to make this decision, and when they go through and they see all of this, like when they walk into the office, like what's their emotional state after obviously dealing with having to make this decision
Yeah.
and then having to go through that battlefield?
It's traumatic to them. Sometimes even when we come up to their car, they're scared because they're like, "Well, who are you?" And we're like, "No, we're here to help you get into the clinic." They don't know that they can't come on our property.
Right.
So they're scared of people coming up to their cars. They're trying to get out and trying to
Very good.
do something to get them from going into their appointment.
Yeah.
And we try our best. And that's why we use social media so much. It's because we really want to make our patients know, like, hey, you're safe with us. Once you're on the property, you're safe. We have you. We will provide everything you need. And it's not just escorting and defending. And, we will help pay for their abortion care if it's too much. We will help, provide them a hotel if their appointment needs to be rebooked. We will give them food and water. We have things for kids that are waiting in the cars. We have it's not just defending and escorting. Like, we care about our patients so much that we will literally do all we can with mutual aid to help them as well.
Yeah.
I remember years ago when I was in college and I started a Young Democrats club. And I remember debating, at the time with young Republicans about, abortion and whatnot. And they were like, oh, well, it's just, women use it as a birth control method. Just because you go out and you're having sex and you're just using it to do it. What are some of the stories that you've seen of the reasons why women are coming to this clinic?
Oh, so many. The birth control argument is always what people say. Oh, they're just using it as birth control, so they don't have to take accountability for what they're doing.
Like anybody, by the way, I just like anybody would be like, that's the easiest way to go for birth control.
Right.
Like that is the most, like if that even was the case, like why would you choose the most uphill battle road,
Expensive.
like traumatizing, possibly painful, like all of these other things, like to be like, meh, birth control.
Right.
Like, it just, if you actually logically think about it, that just doesn't make sense.
It's hypocritical too, because it's like an egg by itself doesn't just, make the baby. But here we are.
But
Right.
yeah, here we are.
But here we are.
Yeah.
Well, part of the abortion bans that many of these states are trying to implement actually are trying to ban emergency contraceptives and birth control altogether. So it doesn't make any sense at all.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but going back to your question, there are so many reasons for someone to get an abortion.
Right.
They can't afford another child. Like, that's fair. If a lot of times the people that are coming to our clinic already have kids,
Right.
and adding another to that would be a financial burden for them. So maybe it's not a viable pregnancy. Maybe the person carrying has a blood clot disorder. Maybe there are just so many reasons why a person needs an abortion, and it's not black and white. It's very gray, but the government wants to make you think it's black and white, and it's
Right.
not. There are so many stories that break our heart,
Right.
hearing people and the reasons that they're coming, and then hearing the hateful speech on the sidewalk of them guilting and shaming that person for making a decision that might have been a pregnancy they wanted to keep and they couldn't.
It might have been like how horrifying it is to have wanted this pregnancy so badly, and for whatever reason, like you wanted it, and it's not happening. It's not working out, and then to have to have that procedure done, but then also hear about how you're such a terrible person. And
Yeah.
it's just like, talk about mental health. It's
I
insane.
have, and you're a big mental health advocate. I have actually joined therapy since starting to do this because it is a mental health tax
Yeah.
on us as well.
Yes.
I bet.
Because, we're the front line. We want to distract them
Yeah.
as much as we can so that they're not worrying about our patients. So we have a lot of training and a lot of extensive courses and stuff that we do as an organization to make sure that we are able to talk to these antis in a calm and calm way.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But you do have to kind of take what they say in your head and it's really like mental gymnastics sometimes talking to them.
Yes.
And then, the scariest thing is Charlotte is kind of a hotspot for this for the reason that the man who paid off Jane Roe to say that she regretted her abortion is
Mhm.
actually here in Charlotte. His name's Flip Benham.
What?
He works with the organization next door.
What?
So he comes out to our clinic every week. He comes to us. He goes to Planned Parenthood. But he was part of that organization, Operation Save America, that paid off Jane Roe to say that she regretted her abortion, used her as a pawn. And then she had a documentary on Hulu called Becoming Jane Roe.
Mhm.
That was a deathbed confessional. And she admitted that she was paid off.
Wow.
It's
But
crazy.
it's so funny because people don't hear that.
Right,
Mm-mm.
because I remember listening when the Supreme Court made the Dobbs decision, and NPR did a series of podcasts about it, and I didn't know that she was still alive at the time, and I also I didn't know her story,
Mhm.
and they talked about the fact that was it in the 90s that all of a sudden she came out and said that she was regretted the decision and
Yeah.
all of that stuff, and I was like, I had no clue about any of that stuff.
Yeah, no, she was definitely used as a pawn for their agenda, which is I'm grateful that she did the documentary
Right.
because it really showed what this organization does and the lengths they'll go through to get their agenda.
Mm.
And I'll tell you, Flip denies it.
Really?
Yeah, he denies it. But it was her deathbed confessional, and she wanted to let everybody know, and she was very strong for that.
Have you ever been able to have a civil discussion with someone who's on the other side and made them see a point that they didn't realize? Or is it if you believe what you believe, that is it?
Absolutely. We have had meaningful discussions with our antis.
Mm-hmm.
And we have some defenders that are really, really good at it.
Mm.
And they will, have them in conversation for an hour. And it does happen where they're like, okay, I can see the science behind that, or I can see the reasoning behind that. I mean, it doesn't change their mind, but it does help them kind of see a point of what we're trying to get across.
Yeah.
Right.
But they're still going to do what they do because they are so strongly against abortion that,
Right.
it's yeah. But we do have meaningful conversations, and we do post some of that stuff on our TikTok. So we're on TikTok, CLT for Choice. We go live on Saturdays at the clinic, so you can
Mm.
actually see a live view of what we're dealing with every
Right.
day. The weekends are a lot more people, but the weekdays, the antis are feistier. So
Oh, really?
yeah, because the cops aren't
Interesting.
there.
Oh.
Cops are only there on Saturday.
Oh.
So, but yeah, I go live on TikTok every Saturday. So if you guys ever want to watch and see kind of what we deal with in real time, it's very interesting.
Yeah.
And they do prayer walks, which is they'll walk the circle and stop in front of the clinic and literally stand in front of the clinic and pray and sing and all the stuff. So that's what people see when they pull in. So
I remember when we were in Tampa, and I used to go Saturdays to this weight loss clinic. And it was maybe a couple of blocks down. And every Saturday I would go there at 9:30 to get my little B12 injection. And every Saturday, rain or shine, there was at least 5 people out at a clinic.
Yeah.
And it would enrage me because I would think to myself, why you standing out here? Why can't you go volunteer at the Boys and Girls Club? Why can't you go help the panhandlers that are literally across the street from you? Why can't you go do anything that is way more
They
productive?
can't, Miguel, because that's their purpose in life. They feel they've been called.
say it louder for the people in the back.
That's why. And I get it that you're like, well, why? As a logical person, put your time into something else.
Right.
I'm
Yeah.
very I have, people in my life that are that way.
Mhm.
And it's a conviction. And it's so
Mhm.
it comes from different places. Not all of them bad places. That it doesn't always come from a place of like,
Mhm.
hate or whatever. It comes from this like desperation or misguided a want to help or like actually trauma from their
Mhm.
own lives.
Right.
Various reasons, but the conviction is so deep rooted. There is no way for some. I'm obviously not, I'm not
Yeah.
blanketing,
Mhm.
but for some, probably most, the conviction is so deep. It's like, this is my purpose and
Mm.
I'm devoting my life to saving babies and children. And
Mhm.
it can come from a place of like care for like what they think is the right thing. I understand. Not I don't agree, but I also am saying like I can see where it comes from. And that's where, because it comes from such a place of like desperation and often trauma in their own
Right.
lives, that's how it gets to the overzealousness that you
Mhm.
see where people like you who maybe don't know anybody in that way in your life can be like, what's going on?
Mhm.
But you have to, it's like deep conviction.
Right.
Mm.
It's indoctrination. Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
It's 100%.
Yeah.
And we do see that. And there are some members of our organization who had religious trauma,
Yeah.
and
Mm.
that kind of is what brought them to our side. And it happens, and it's there. And we see a lot of kids out there every week, like a lot of
Yeah.
kids.
That's where the indoctrination comes
Mhm.
in.
Yeah, and everyone can believe what they want, and we are not against anyone having different views than ours.
Right.
We just want patients to be safe.
Yeah.
Right.
We don't want them to experience just
More trauma.
bullying,
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
as they're going into a doctor's appointment. Like
Right.
Right.
it's like me standing outside, an colonoscopy appointment. Like
Right.
you're
Yeah.
not going to do that.
Right.
Right.
Or standing outside of their church.
Right. I mean,
Like-
we don't do that. We don't go to their churches. We
Right,
don't do
right.
that. I have a crisis pregnancy center that's right down the road from me. And I mean, I don't go out there and protest,
Right.
which
Yeah.
crisis pregnancy centers are a whole nother story because they're all religious based.
Mm.
So yes, look into crisis pregnancy centers if you guys have some time. But
Wow.
we don't go protest their religion and what they're doing. It's
Right.
just it's crazy to me.
Yeah.
And you said that these anti-choicers, they give
Mhm.
out pamphlets
They do. Yeah.
of information. You were bringing up the financial burdens.
Mhm.
They put in what, like SNAP and like EBT and things like that on there?
Yeah, it's so the pamphlet that they give out in the driveway is just like this little colorful thing that says like hope is here.
Mhm.
And the resources is a phone number to one of their paid members.
Mhm.
Because they are a nonprofit who pay their sidewalk counselors to be out there.
Right.
Mm.
They have a number for one of their paid counselors who are very, very good. They are trained.
Yeah.
They are it's insane. So they call this person, they say they need help, and then they start giving them resources. I'm gonna
Mm.
put in quotation marks if you're listening.
Right.
Yeah.
And those resources are all government based. So like one of them is crisis assistance ministry here in Charlotte.
Mhm.
It's not guaranteed. You have
Right.
to apply for that. There are
Right.
things you have to do to get. That's literally the only financial assistance they have in this pamphlet.
Mm.
That
Yeah.
annoys me because, and not to generalize, but I guess I will. Like these same people who are wanting these
Mhm.
women to get on government assistance
Yep.
are the same people who
Save
get
themselves.
angry when they are on government assistance.
Mhm.
Actively voting against government assistance.
So
I know.
It's a
It's a
lot
little-
of again the mental gymnastics.
is.
Right.
Where it's like make it make sense.
Right.
But there's a lot of sort of like blind denial that goes on.
Mhm.
Like just to make one hand doesn't know what the other hand is doing, and it just makes it like plausible deniability. Like,
Mm.
I mean, it doesn't make. This has always been my issue. It's like, help me with the logistics of this. Make
Right.
it make logical reasoning sense to me.
Yeah.
And
It's
Like you're not
crazy.
gonna pay for the baby's
Mm-mm.
lifetime until they're 18.
Right.
So like, but you have a mighty opinion about what this woman should do with her baby.
Yeah, they do say that they'll throw them a baby shower.
Oh, that'll
Cool.
be helpful.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah.
All right.
Such a-
Yeah.
well, that makes it better.
Yeah.
But that's why voting, especially this midterm election, is so important. Because, when Roe got overturned, we felt defeated.
Yeah.
We knew it was coming.
What was that like for you?
Oh, that was a really hard couple of weeks for us because we've been so ingrained in the reproductive justice world for so long
Mm-hmm.
that that's like what we do. Like
Yeah.
outside of work, that's what I do.
Right.
And so when the decision came down, like I'm gonna admit, I cried. I'm not a
Mhm.
crier. I'm not an emotional person,
Right.
but like I just saw the rights go away. Like it was
Yeah.
like almost instantly. And like thankfully we live in a state with a governor who is supportive of reproductive rights.
Right.
So it's still legal in North Carolina, but we need to keep it legal. So
Mhm.
no matter which way you vote for whatever you want, but you need to vote this midterm election. It's really important. And like you said, early voting ends Saturday, November 5th at 3 in North Carolina, at 6 in South Carolina. If you can't vote then, go on November 8th at your designated voting place because you just have to get your voice heard. It's really, really important.
So important.
Yeah.
Ultimately.
God, it's so, see, these issues are so hard. And this is why I couldn't go into politics, because I feel so deeply, and it just burns my soul that there are people that are trying to force their beliefs on other people, and as much as a gay person, I hear so many times, and especially like if you're at a pride parade or something, and they're like, oh, I don't want to see y'all are flaunting your sexuality everywhere, and you're trying to indoctrinate, our kids, and you're grooming and all this other stuff. And I'm like, bitch, I don't want you at my drag show. I don't want anything to do with you. You ain't even cute and you smell. Get the fuck away from me. And so it just makes me so angry when they're just trying to all the time just push. And then we always have to be like the civil ones that's like, well, we just want everybody to have. It's like, just stop. Like, let people live their lives.
Yeah.
But thank you so much for what you do.
Oh, absolutely. I'm so glad you guys gave me this platform to talk about this. It's so important. If anyone listening lives in Charlotte, wants to get involved with the organization, we're so happy to take on new volunteers. CLTforchoice.com is our website. It's our social handle across all platforms. Give us a follow on TikTok. We just hit 100,000 followers. So I'm really excited.
Oh, yes.
That's nice.
Yeah. So yeah. And we go live every Saturday. So if you guys ever want to take a look or things like that, we do ask though, you don't show up to the clinic. I know people are really passionate about it, but everybody out there on our side is trained. So
I was just about to say, you don't have the training.
Right.
Yeah.
So a random person to show up, that's gonna.
Yeah.
You don't want me
probably-
showing up being
Don't-
like,
Yeah,
how
throwing hands.
dare you?
No.
I'm about to throw some hands at somebody.
That's why I do not appreciate it. No.
all right, we're gonna put you on the banned list,
Yeah.
Miguel.
Miguel's not allowed to show up.
You're not allowed.
No, see, this is why I sit in the studio and we help broadcast the message
Mhm.
Yes.
calmly.
Calmly.
So people know where to help. So if someone is like, all right, I want to help, but I got kids, I got a job, I don't have the time to put in it, what are some other ways that people can help?
Well, with Charlotte for Choice, we do have a lot of like administrative stuff to do, like answering emails and things like that. We get a lot of mutual aid requests. Helping us fundraise is a big one. So all money, like every single dollar that we get goes straight back into patients. We're all volunteers. None of us get paid. The organization next door, they pay all of the people to be out there.
Ooh.
Their financials last year were damning. So let's just say we don't take a dime. Like it all goes back into patients. So like if you can help us fundraise or anything like that, you guys can help, get the word out about abortion care and abortion access. Reproductiverights.org is a really great website for you guys to check out if you want to like get more information or where it's legal, or if you have a friend who needs it, like can you get an abortion in Tennessee? No, not right now. But where's the closest place I can go? So there's a lot of things you can do. Promote it on your social media. Like make sure people go vote. Promote voting, which is really dumb that we're telling people to vote for a medical reason. It's so backwards. But
But here we are.
Yeah. So, but yeah, there's so much you can do. You guys can always reach out to us on social media if you want any other information or you want to help some other way. Like we're always open to it and we respond pretty quickly. So.
I love it. Jody,
Yes.
a coworker
Jody.
and volunteering
Thank
for
you
Charlotte
so
for
much,
Choice.
guys.
Thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Have a great weekend.
All right.
Oh my goodness. I just get so incensed that it's like I can't even like formulate thoughts because it makes me just so angry.
I
And
know.
I remember like when we were doing the podcast that one day when the decision came down, and it's like
Oof.
I've a couple of times gone back to just look at my reaction, and it's only been a few times in my life that I have just been so angry that I just have no words. That I just wanted to scream. And
I know. I know.
There's
And
just
it's the misinformation that just circulates, and then so many men and women fall victim to just false information.
Right.
It really sucks.
I get so angry because it's the person who appointed the judges Truly's fault.
Right.
That makes me incredibly angry. But we had somebody who had warned us about this. And,
Oh no, we're going all the way
well,
back to this.
I mean, we're going
But
back
her
to 20.
emails though.
Oh,
But her
okay.
emails though.
Okay.
But anyways,
No, listen, I'll say it. But here's the thing is we're living in a time right now that we can't be quiet about this type of stuff. And I really try to be measured in like how I say and what I say, because I know that if you're on the other side, you're probably you're not going to listen to what I say. But I do feel like there is some common ground that we can at least start to work on. But then, like I've said before, there's just that certain sliver of people, and it's a very small sliver of people that don't deal in reality.
Yeah.
That just, it makes it so sad for our country, because it's like, I was just having this conversation with someone the other day. It's like, girl, I would love to go back to like the, Mitt Romney days or the Bush days, and like, let's talk about taxes,
Right.
Like
Mhm.
who should get taxes? Let's debate about that.
Like you have a good old fashioned debate, and then you go get lunch.
Right. But no, we can't. And it's just very unfortunate. So
Mhm.
this is why I just encourage every single person that is listening to this, that, watches our stuff, to please go vote.
Mhm.
Please, please, please.
Vote like your life depends on it.
Because it literally does.
It does.
Yep.
All right. So last night, bye, Jody.
Bye, Jody.
Bye, Jody.
We had a little dinner at my place, a little chicken parmesan night.
Yeah.
With our boss, Daddy AJ. And we also had the famous Dennis Clark. He's a talent coach with our company over. And I'm feeling it today. Like, it is.
I knew I would
heart,
too,
bitch.
but like,
You done forgot.
Girl, I'm like,
It's on your shirt.
what is? Oh,
The I heart.
yes, it does. I hurt everywhere. That's because Dennis brought over, like, when he was like, "Oh, I'm gonna bring some prosecco."
he's like,
Some
I'm gonna bring
wine.
I thought it was
He
like
said-
3 bottles.
He
Right.
said a couple bottles of wine. He said
Right.
he's gonna bring a red, a white, and then Calvin was like, I'll do a prosecco, and he's like, I'll bring that. And so
Mhm.
we all thought, okay, we're getting 3 bottles of wine to split amongst 6 people.
Right.
7
Correct.
7
7.
people. No,
Girl, he brought over a box.
this
A
man got a
box.
box.
And like, so I had a glass of wine as I was prepping the food, just because there's like no space in our house to like host people like that for dinner. I was just like freaking out a little bit about it. And so I was like, let me just have some wine as I'm like cooking, whatever, it's Thursday. And then when all that other booze showed up, and then I kept drinking, and then afterwards we were drinking some more after dinner, and I was just like, girl.
I knew it too. And thanks to Abe, because Miguel's husband, Abe, because at one point I was like, it's like SOS, I need some water. And he gave me one of those like electrolyte drinks, like
Mhm.
Pedialyte basically. And I was like, thank you. Even with that. And
Still
I
didn't do nothing.
chugged a whole bottle of water when I got back afterwards. This morning I was like, like I didn't, luckily, I mean, it could have been worse.
Right.
I staved that off.
Mhm.
But I'm just not right. Like, you need a lot of mental acuity to do this job. And so was I present, like physically? Am I still present physically and able to like speak and whatnot? Yeah. But it's just not, I'm not right.
It's hurting.
Yeah.
It hurts. Like
It's
my
hurting.
knees literally hurt. Why my knees hurt? Wasn't doing anything.
Oh my
It's
God.
like alcohol goes to my knees and fucks them up. I don't know.
Save that.
This don't understand.
Holly O'Connor. The alcohol goes to my knees and the hurt. Hits 96.1 with Miguel and Holly.
I feel like I don't wanna listen to that.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so
I
it was
had a
a
great
rough.
time.
It was a really good time. I'm
Yeah.
so glad that we did it. Don't get
Yeah.
me wrong at all. It's just it makes the next day a little rough.
It
Yes.
does. It does.
I
At
think
least we're all
what's-
in it together.
No, absolutely. I think what's really cool though is that working for a company like this, iHeartMedia,
Mhm.
we have big names in our company that you know of, like Bobby Bones
Ryan
and Elvis
Seacrest.
Duran, Ryan Seacrest, the
Mhm.
Breakfast Club. So Dennis works with all of these people. And so what's great is he'll tell stories of like behind the scenes stuff of like,
Yeah.
because he was Ryan Seacrest's executive producer
Like
in the
20
mid
years
2000s.
ago.
Yeah, when he
Right.
started on Kiss in LA. And so he knew Ryan like as he was starting out on American Idol.
Yeah.
And so him telling stories about like behind the scenes stuff of like the inner workings, it's like, and he's just so casual about it.
Because
So
he's like
casual.
friends with
Right.
him. Like he has since, like, he was his executive producer as a radio person, but
Right.
then he like became his talent coach.
Mhm.
And so then he's also coaching us, and we're like, this is really, it's too much. It's a little bizarre. But like, it's obviously nonchalant for him because this is a friend of his for 20 years. Whereas
Right.
to us, we like watch American Idol with everybody else. And we're just
Right.
like, there's celebrity Ryan Seacrest.
Right.
And like, he works for our company and he does the same thing we do. He does a lot more stuff than we do as well.
Right,
But
make a
like,
lot
he
more money
does
than
the
we
same,
do.
like, no, that's not- But it's
we
so-
collectively make what Ryan Seacrest pays in taxes.
Yes. That is correct.
Maybe.
Maybe, probably less. So that, but
Oh,
it's
man.
really bizarre to hear these stories humanizing someone who's almost like, I mean, like a extraordinarily talented, like just robot, because
Right.
he just goes and goes and goes and excels at everything he does.
Mm-hmm.
So what are you gonna tell stories or no?
No, I'm not telling any
You're
of the
not
story-
allowed.
Oh, bitch, no, I'm not telling any of the stories that he
No,
told us.
mama.
No, I just think it's funny to hear because there are times that I think of like I remember, Holly, when you and I were in Panama City,
Mm.
and I had never been to a big city radio station. And I used to always be like, there's like magic in the hallways. Like it's just big city radio. It's crazy. And then
That's what it feels like, because when you're in like, tiny little radio, you go to a bigger city and
Right.
it's like, okay, these people are doing the same thing I do, but this is for real.
Bigger.
Those
right.
radio people
Mhm.
are celebrities. I'm just me
Right.
doing my thing in the cornfields. That's how I felt when I was in Findlay, Ohio. Even before I moved to Panama City. And I went and like shadowed at it used to be Clear Channel, this company. I worked for Clear Channel, so did you.
Mhm.
It was like way back in like, 2004, and I shadowed the promotions director at Clear Channel Cleveland. And when I went
Mm.
in, it was like a big building with an elevator,
Oh.
and I had my best gaucho pants on with my lacy camisole top, thinking like I was the shit.
Yes,
And
honey.
I was just like, oh my God, one day maybe I could work at like a real radio station like this instead
Oh
of
my
the old
God.
dentist office that my building is now. So cool. So cool.
And so to me, like when he tells stories, and I sort of feel like that about the stories he tells about Ryan Seacrest or Elvis Duran in New York. When they're like, oh yeah, like Elvis and I, like we went and had dinner. And
Elvis
little
cooked
bake-off.
some
Yeah.
chicken parm too.
And
You
I'm
guys
like-
should just do that together. We're like, what?
I'm like, girl, Elvis Duran lives in probably like a $10 million condo
Right.
in Manhattan overlooking Central Park.
Yeah.
Like that just doesn't compute to me.
No.
Like when I think about you, like people that have that much money and access, I'm like, what is your life? Like, what do you do when you
Why
go
are you cooking?
Right. Like, do you just go shopping like all the time? Like, cause they're like, I have like 5 tabs open on my laptop at home of like things that I want to buy that I'm like, all right, well, maybe I can buy this like in the spring and then maybe this. But like when you're that rich, are you just like oh, hey, I got an email from Christian Dior and they have some new sunglasses. Boop, I bought them.
think you do.
Like,
One at a time.
Or maybe you don't, and that's how you stay rich. Like,
True.
you're probably not frivolous with it, right?
Mhm.
Because then you have to be a little bit smart with your money. Like, I think you could do it, but maybe you don't.
Well, I know. I remember there was one. I read Elvis Duran's book, and
It was good.
it was. But I remember like there was one part that I was like, I had to put the book down because I was like, what the fuck? It was like when he had lost a bunch of weight, and his accountant had called him and was like, you can't spend this much money a month on new clothes. And it was like $5,000 a month or something like that on new clothes. And I was like,
Who needs that many clothes?
what?
You're just covering up your naked bits. How much clothes do you need?
I remember hearing him on air talking about how he wrote out a charity check for like $20K, and he's like, my accountant's gonna be mad at me, whatever. And I'm like,
Girl,
I'll never forget that.
I remember when I donated $200 to something. I had to call Abe and be like, "Are we okay?"
Right?
And we did.
I know. Sometimes I have like charitable regret because like I get in my feels. What did I donate to recently? I can't think of what it was. It was something to do with the hurricane. And it was like, doesn't matter what it was, but I saw an email had popped up and I was like, yes, absolutely. I want to give to that. I do like to give now, especially like when I can.
Right.
So immediately I went and I'm like, bing, there's $50. And after I did it, I was like, wait a minute. Was that okay that I did that? I was like, I can't take it back. But like I should be okay. Okay, well, let's make sure we're not eating out an extra day this week. Like $50, and I'm just like, oh God, I have a little bit of charity regret. But it's like it's crazy that they can just do that.
Yeah, it's insane. It just feels like a whole nother life. I would love to interview just like a rich person just to be like, is your like how much money do you keep in your checking account? Like how much of it is liquid and how much of it is tied up in assets
or like invested.
Right. So like let's say you make $5 million a year, like what does your paycheck look like? and as soon as you get paid, do you just like move it over to different places? Like
it might go automatically to different places.
Right
off the bat.
Is there a limit to how much you transfer?
Oh
yeah,
because that's true. Because banks, it's like what, like a $2,000 or $3,000 a day limit,
right?
Yes.
So it's like,
somebody, I think it's Jason Hall. I can't tell. Like it just says Facebook user, but it says rich bargain shop, poor shop rich to seem like they have money. So like when you when you have less money, you want to look like you have money, so you're trying to spend it to like make it look like it. But rich people are like, I'm gonna be choosy with what I get so that I save my millions.
Yeah, it's facts.
It is.
I do. Oops, I'm messing up the honor.
Oh,
oops.
Please don't put us on there.
Yikes. I do remember I was friends with someone for a little bit that I know they never said it, but because of their position, you could see their salary that they made 1.1 million a year base.
Wait, you saw that they made that?
I can't say how. I knew that's how much their base was. And they also had stock options.
I don't even understand. I need to hire someone to tell me about this.
But what was interesting about being around this person is that they never had to like everything was taken care of. So like I remember this was before Uber. And so I remember like going out with them one time. It was a couple and we would go out to the club and they would drive their car, their very, very expensive BMW, and they had this like collapsible motorcycle in the back of their car. And so when we were ready at the end of the night, they would call a service and a guy would ride his bike over, put his bike in the back of the BMW. The guy would come over on the collapsible motorcycle, put the motorcycle in the back of the trunk, drive us back to their place, and then take his motorcycle out of the back of the trunk and then go home. But he was on call 24/7.
That's an awful lot of work and manpower to just not call an Uber.
But this is before Uber. This was before Uber.
I missed that part.
This was before Uber. And like I remember one time there was like 15 of us or 20 of us went to dinner one time. And, as we're like, oh, wait, where's our check? Where's our check? And the person was like, oh, it's already been taken care of.
That's so bizarre. Like, because obviously we make more money now than we have in the past.
Right.
I'll say that.
Right.
But and as much as sometimes like I want to be the person, because like I know I'm making more money now than I did in the past, and I can like I could be a person like when we get together with radio conventions that there are still people making like less than what I used to make, and they're still making that, and I make more now, so I could be like I'm like round for the bar, but I'm still not at a level where I feel comfortable doing that because I'm like, again, I'm spending $50 at a charity, and I'm like, ugh. Like if I were to spend like drop $200-300 to like drinks for everyone, I would have severe like, oh shit, what did I just do? I can't
right.
really afford this. Like
Right.
I have a kid. Like, does she need shoes? Like, what am I doing? Like, I could.
She ain't got no shoes, honey. Why your daughter got no shoes, girl?
I mean, while I'm buying shots for everybody, like I could in theory probably do that,
Right.
but I should not do that.
Right.
And so I almost feel like weird guilty that like I could do it, but I don't. But I really can't.
Well, I also feel like one of the things that I've learned is that as I've gotten older and have progressed up, is that just because that number says that you make a lot of money or a little bit more money doesn't mean that you have a lot of money.
Correct.
Because if you have a lot of expenses,
Right.
all that money is coming in and it's going out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
100%.
And so you have to keep track of that, Kelvin.
I have the opposite problem. I'm making less and spending more these days.
Spending the money.
But one day I'll get back to where I was.
Well, that's part of the process of radio is that like we have a set salary that we make and then we do extra stuff that brings in more money. But when you start over at a new place, you've got to build up those relationships.
Yeah,
And
all
so
over again.
it takes a long time to do that.
Yeah.
Because girl, when we first got to Tampa, like
Dennis yesterday was like, "Oh, have you gotten any endorsements?" And I looked straight at AJ and I go, "No."
What
he said, it's time.
Yeah, it is time.
It's time.
Speaking of that, I have a meeting on Wednesday. We may have to push the podcast a little late.
Oh.
I'm just trying to make my money all.
Oh, she said I gotta buy my baby shoes.
She said, "Fuck this podcast, I'm making money."
Baby wants Crocs for Christmas.
Oh,
Yes.
Like, why are we
anybody?
back in Crocs? Okay, whatever. What?
Anybody have anything else?
I can't wait to go to sleep.
I don't feel good. Like
yeah, I'm done.
I don't feel nauseous.
That story you said,
I
I didn't retain any of it.
Oh.
What?
The one about the before the Uber came out.
Oh, right.
I didn't
Do you know
retain
where
it.
you are?
I don't know her.
No.
Let's see. Hold on. Amy said that's how my pay works. Comes in and goes right back out. Ramen and beanie wine suck.
She meant beanie weenies.
Oh,
Y'all
beanie
look
weenies.
tired. Damn, Laura.
Laura Topline said y'all look tired. She said y'all look busted as fuck.
Yeah.
We do look busted. I don't like the angle in this particular studio with this. I can see every line in my face, and it's been bothering me this whole time.
I grew some line. Are we gonna talk about the elephant in the room about if we scroll all the way up
Mhm.
with Jason's comment?
Wait, which one?
The one that says TGIF Facebook user.
Wait.
Oh. All right, hold on. We need to clarify.
Oh, yes, that's what I
We
said.
need to
Remember I
clarify,
said? Remember
yeah.
I said? I
No,
said.
this is all right. So, who
Please
wants
help.
to take this one?
No, who wants to tell him? Who's
All
gonna
right,
tell
okay,
him?
okay, I will. Okay, so Jason,
Oh no!
if you're
this
looking
is
at it,
awkward.
we can't see who it is. We just see Facebook user.
I
Right.
just got
So-
so much. cringe.
No. So there's you, Jason.
We have to address it.
We do. There's you, Jason, and then there is a listener here in Charlotte that every time that she texts in or she comments on here, her nickname is Juicy Little Tidbit.
Yeah.
So I
Yeah.
think what happened is because both of you, we can't see your name on our end. So I think one day when it was both of you in here and we were like, oh, hey, Juicy Little Tidbit. Hey, Jason. Jason, you thought we were calling you Juicy Little Tidbit, but Jason Hull is one person and Juicy Little Tidbit is a whole nother person. We are so sorry for the confusion.
I'm so sorry.
And Holly brought that up.
But
You are a Juicy Little Tidbit.
I mean,
do
that
you
doesn't
want
mean
to continue to be called Juicy Little Tidbit?
we don't think you're not a juicy
Right.
little tidbit. It's
Maybe-
just that we weren't calling you juicy little tidbit. There's a
Tidbit.
separate lady that we call
Right.
juicy little tidbit who
But if-
also doesn't have a Facebook name that shows up for.
If you like it, we can
But you don't
continue.
have
oh, wait. He said, oh, I know.
No, he didn't because then he said, "Oh, gotcha."
Oh, he said,
LMAO.
gotcha. Okay. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Jason.
You could both be juicy little tidbits.
Honestly, yes. You can what y'all want. Wink,
Oh,
wink.
you call me what all y'all want.
nasty.
Come on,
We
Jason.
could call
Yes.
you juicy little tidbit too, or something.
No, how about we call you a big juicy tidbit,
Big
honey?
juice. That's a lot.
That's too much.
Girl, I don't know. We need to go. I ain't making no sense. All right, Holly, what's your social media?
Radio Holly. You know what? You already know what it is.
Kelvin Live. So fucking tired.
Oh, I can't wait to listen back to this and see what it is. Like the Jody part was like on point. And
Yes.
then
Because
Yeah.
we used all of the rest of our
Remaining
mental
energy.
capacity to really have a serious discussion about something serious. And then
Yes.
she left and we were like, ah!
we should have just ended the podcast there. At that point.
Yes.
And then we just, I don't even know. We talked about Ryan Seacrest, I think, and making how am I going to title this?
Oh yeah, what's the title? What should we name the title of this?
I really need help.
Juicy little
y'all.
tidbit too.
The juicy little tidbit
Actually, no, it's a
scandal.
serious convo too.
Wait,
No.
Juicy little tidbit gate.
Juicy tidbit gate. Yes.
Wait, so what's Juicy Little Tidbit's name?
I think
Brooke.
it's Brooke.
It's Brooke.
Okay, and then there's we have a Charlotte Juicy Little Tidbit and we have a Tampa Juicy Little Tidbit.
Can we just call you Tampa Tidbit?
Tampa Bit?
No, I like Tampa.
Tampa Tidbit.
Alliteration.
Tampa
Yeah.
Tidbit.
Tampa Tidbit.
Tampa Tidbit.
That's it.
Yes.
That's it.
Oh, all right. They said do your own work. Well,
I'm
we
starting to get giggly. Like,
Yeah.
no. I need to go lay down before my flight.
Oh my God. Kelvin, what's all your social media?
At Kelvin Live.
Girl, he yawning on
I
the
am.
podcast.
I've been
girl.
yawning a bunch
Linda
of times,
Meyer
honestly.
said, "Where's that OnlyFans, Kelvin?"
It's coming. Y'all are gonna subscribe for 1 month and then not renew.
Oh, he said
But
he
I'll
wants
take that
commitment.
first check. I'll take that first check.
All right. Mine's Miguel Fuller. We will see you all next week. Love you guys. Bye.
Miguel and Holly Uncensored.
Catch it on the iHeartRadio app or anywhere you listen to podcasts.